back then, and I regret and neglected. But when you dissociate, you lose lessons and blessings. Learn from mistakes, and if you look around, then you see you're not alone. Cause she might get you, and she might let you, and we might get to tell the world this is her story. This is her story. People, be brave, be beautiful.
Welcome back to another great episode of hashtag Her Chosen Story. I am your host, Clavia, and today we have an amazing woman that I met a few months ago, last year, to be exact, last October/November. And since then, we have hit it off. Life has been incredible being part of her community. And without any further ado, I'm going to actually, before bringing her up, I'm going to share her bio. And you guys are going to get to know her from what I read, but you're going to get to meet the real her once she comes on. Allegra is a wonderful person. I just added that myself, but she was born and raised in New Jersey. She is a driven entrepreneur and CEO of AJ CEO Business Coaching Group, where she helps women, entrepreneurs, and Black business owners build sustainable business model with strategic planning and marketing support. With a background in marketing and management, she's launched multiple six-figure ventures since 2000 and served as a consultant to Fortune 500 companies. Allegra is also passionate about building networking communities and supporting urban development, education, and cultural preservation through volunteer work. And one of the questions I asked Allegra was, well, what's next? At the forefront is her 90-day business growth and clarity intensive, a structured coaching program that provides one-on-one guidance, strategic planning, templates, workflows, and accountability to help entrepreneurs build sustainable systems. She's also expanding the Women into Networking WIN community through her nationwide Win Across America campaign, hosting city-to-city meetups in Atlanta, Florida, whoop, whoop, New Jersey, and Houston, while restructuring leadership and onboarding new local leaders. In addition, she's spearheading fundraising and sponsorship efforts for WIN's events and social impact initiatives, including the release of the Color Her World WIN coloring book and the inspirational Winning Woman Trials to Triumph book collection. Again, so now I can say without any further ado, I'm going to welcome Miss Allegra Jackson to the stage.
Hey guys.
Hey, Allegra.
Hey Clavia.
How are you, Queen? So good to have you here with us.
I'm good. That was such a great introduction. I almost thought it was somebody else.
Okay. Like, wait, is that me?
Girl.
Yes, I'm so glad that we're finally here where we're able to just chop it up and for people to really, really get to know who you are, right? It's really exciting. Like I said, meeting you in October and then at the Win Expo, I will call it. That was really an experience. So I want you to introduce yourself and we'll dive right into our topic today.
Awesome. Hey everyone, I'm Allegra Jackson. They coined me the marketing medulla, but as you've already been introduced, I'm a business coach, marketing strategist, entrepreneur of many, many years. My company, AJCO Business Coaching Group, is really here to directly support women entrepreneurs and Black-owned businesses mainly. But I work with people who just are in different stages of their life. So anyone who is ready to just really clarify their vision for what they want to do in business. Also being able to declutter the overwhelm. There's so much stuff that you build over time when you're building a business. You got to kind of take some things off your plate and just making sure that, women are building generational wealth. Like we are at the forefront of family and career and business now. So because the world sits on our shoulders, I want us to build that generational wealth without overwhelm. So I'm glad to be here. I'm just ready to, just dive right on in.
So glad to have you. One of the questions that I have, and again, for those who don't know, we're talking about building purpose-driven businesses in a shift in economy, shifting economy, and we know how the economy has been for some years now, right? So definitely, we're going to jump right into how can entrepreneurs, particularly Black women, leverage community and collaboration to navigate this economic shift and foster shared growth. What are your thoughts on that?
I hope you can hear me good because I was getting a little static on my end, but I can hear clearly now. That's a great question. I think that because we are at the forefront of business, using community collaboration is essential. I mean, there's really no out at this point, and because women are, you know, just in places where we're not awarded that safe space. We don't get the applauses for the small wins all the time, and we when we struggle in our businesses and even in our personal lives, there are just so many barriers and and so many leaps and bounds to go through. So
Yeah.
having a community at the forefront is one of the things that I know changes the dynamic for the whole entire world for a woman entrepreneur. For one example, when I started Win Women into Networking Win Community, I could not find my people. I was like, where's my tribe? I don't know who's out there that can really help me get my business out into the world, that can help me, speak
Right.
on things that are going to really encourage me in business. Most of the people that was around did not have a business. And so
Right.
building that community allowed me to connect with women who encouraged me, motivated me, because that we were going through the same journey, and knowing that I could actually pull from these individuals because we operate under the same mission, to make sure that I get more resources and I get more education and more support, to really dominate the market and business. So I definitely think it is just pivotal. And I hope that was the direction of the question, but I definitely think it's pivotal for women entrepreneurs to utilize, the community spaces and collaborations.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, your answer was definitely, definitely on point. And that was one of my things when even connecting with you guys, and deciding to join Win, because I knew how important community was. And like you said, like, where's your tribe, right? And how would you find these people? And, a lot of things were birthed from what you started, and people were able to obviously network and grow together, and now they're doing their own thing, and that's really amazing to see. And I know I mentioned the 90-day business growth and clarity intensive, and we'll get into that, but things like that is what we need as a people, right? Because we see it other places, but what are we doing for ourselves? So I really applaud you for recognizing the need and really executing on that. And another question: how can entrepreneurs reframe overwhelm, recognizing it is a lack of support rather than a lack of ability? And what specific strategies can be implemented to build a strong team, utilize effective tools, and cultivate a supportive community in a shifting economy? So we're talking reframing overwhelm, the feeling of overwhelm, recognizing the lack of support rather than the lack of ability, and what specific strategies can be implemented to build a strong team.
I wanted to pause outside of my work hours. I was like,
Mm-hmm. You could jump right in.
so this is a great question because one of my areas that I work with is in overwhelm with the business. I think that number one, how to reframe it means you have to understand where you're overwhelmed, right? Like, I think that's the first step. And if you don't know where or why, because a lot of the clients I work with, when we go through this coaching process, we actually have to do it in bite-sized pieces, because sometimes when you're overwhelmed, it feels like you can't do anything. It feels like you can't think, feels like you can't focus, you know. So reframing it takes, just really going back to the most simplified measure is, what am I overwhelmed by? Writing it down, and then actually recognizing where you can improve, like prioritizing, what's the first area that I can start working on. For some of my clients, it came down to their home. Just going in their home, they were already overwhelmed walking in the door. So anything else outside of that, whether it was taking care of their family or whether it was working on the business in the home office, they were just completely overwhelmed all the time. So having that process helped, also having guidance, because one thing that they couldn't do is do it by themselves. They A lot of people, when you're in overwhelm, you
Yeah.
feel like you can
Yeah.
do
So
stuff,
true.
but you end up being in a repeated cycle, because that's just how the brain is receiving at that time. So I've even started doing my own research with
Yeah.
mental health, and how I can look at where people are in that overwhelm, and then just create those strategies to the point of the programs that I create. Some of the strategies, really included making sure that you wrote down what you needed to do, create a checklist, and then day by day check those things off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something very simple, but when you talk about that, going into building a strong team and utilizing effective tools, and really getting into a supportive community or building one, whatever it is that you're doing, everything takes time. So I just want to start with
Mhm.
that, because you can't build a team overnight.
Yeah.
You're
For
not going to
sure.
find every tool you need
Yeah.
in a day. So just making sure that as you create strategy, that you are just being mindful of how your strategy is working for you, because the overwhelm will dissipate over
Yeah.
time when you're just following your step by step.
Yeah. That's good. That's really, really good advice. And I know for sure for me, I mean, when I love writing, and I know we were in a space, I think it was when we were doing the book reading, and I would really take notes on some of those things. And taking notes is what I do. And like I would be on calls, and the person that's leading the call, they'd be like, "Oh, you don't have to write. It's okay. AI is gonna send you the meeting notes." But I know using the AI notes sometimes. I'm like, that's not what we're gonna do next. That's not the agenda, So I do like writing, and we're gonna jump into AI too. I really do like writing my own notes, whether it's a schedule, whether it's to do, whether it's what's next, to kind of avoid that overwhelm. And what you can't do today, I know tomorrow isn't promised, but it can be done another day, right? Or if you're able to distribute those tasks to somebody else, so you would have that, whether it's work life integration. I don't even like saying balance anymore, because what is balance, right? But to integrate it and to not be overwhelmed, and to sometimes really just sit and think and take a step back, it's really vital. So that's really, really good advice. Really good advice. And my questions are numbered, but we're going to kind of mix it up, seeing that I spoke about AI, and I know
Mhm.
you have a few things in the pot regarding whether it's automation and things like that. So how can AI powered marketing tools leverage, specifically again, women, black women, as business owners? What can help in that economic shift? What would that look like for us? Should we depend on it? Should we use our brain? Or is there a way to, again, integrate the two?
I love that. I love this question. Well, there's definitely a way to integrate. I don't think you should put all your eggs in one basket. So, it's just my model growing up, and my mother taught me that. So, I just believe that having, first of all, everything comes from your brain. So, there's no replacement for that. You're, even when you put a prompt in the chat GPT, even when you think about what you need to do, like that all comes from you. So for someone to say, let me just let the AI think for me, that would never happen.
Yeah.
I think that we get a little lazy. And so what we
Right.
want to do is we just want to get the instant result. untold. And so it feels like, we're allowing AI to, take over and do things for us, when we're just not using our own resources and tools. So AI is a tool, just like, our brain is a
Mhm.
tool. Your hands are a tool. You use these things to,
Mhm.
create momentum in your business, in different ways. So I always say, if you're, say, for example, in the beginning stages of your business and you're a woman entrepreneur, a black owned business, which we know that there are limitations, you want to do as much market research as possible using AI. You can go to your chat GPT, you can go to your u.com, you can go to your, what's Google Assist,
Yeah.
all these different AIs out here. And, you can start actually guessing, stop guessing and start actually doing the
Mhm.
research, right? That's a quick way that you don't have to now go through
Mhm.
hours of Google searching and, going out into the public just to give surveys. You can now literally go onto AI assisting applications, and they will give you market research and information that comes from all types of sources all over the internet and in real world. So I think that number one, utilizing it to do your research is going to be key, because a lot of business owners I work with that are women and that are
Yeah.
Black entrepreneurs, just very, very, they're uneducated about the world of entrepreneurship. So what happens is we start behind the curve, and
Right.
you don't know what you don't know. And even though we are the most passionate, from what I've seen, women especially
Yeah.
being at the forefront of business, like, we start the most businesses, we increase value for businesses every time we walk in the door. It is proven, it's statistical. But yet and still, only
Yeah.
what, 7% of us, or no, I think it's only like 2 or 3% of us are actually in the seven figures, but 90% or 97 or 98% of us are actually running seven figure type businesses. So this doesn't add up. And so using AI to even look for
Wow.
grants and for funding, look for strategy, strategy that, sorry, somebody's calling me, y'all. Hold on a second. Let me just trying to pause this sound. Sorry about that. Okay, going back. So, strategy wise, right? Like, you may be lost in marketing, and and I like to give these realistic examples because these are things that I do with my client. And it's just, when you don't know what you don't know, you just don't know where to go. So follow these instructions for your marketing, for even your pricing. If you're creating a marketing strategy and you already have offers, then use it to give you a sample strategy that you can pick from. But the only thing that I'll say is that when you use
Right.
that tool, don't use it as if it's the end result. It is not the boss of your business. You are. So
Exactly.
even if
Yeah.
it gives
Yeah.
you a result, you're going to analyze it, you're going to check and balance it, and then you're going to tweak it to match your brand, your vibe, and your message. So that's the advice that I would give
Yeah.
for women, Black owned businesses.
Yeah. That's that's really good. And you mentioned the word funding, and I just put up this quote that you shared. Your business should fund your freedom, not your burnout. And I want you to share, using these tools, and whether it's marketing, whether it's posting on social media, whether it's having workshops, how has all of that helped you as a, whether it's personal or in business, how has it helped you grow as an entrepreneur? And let's say fund your freedom and avoid burnout, because I know, again, you took some well needed time some time ago, and for you it was a real woosah, right? And with those type of breaks from everything that's going on, not even using your phone, we need to also implement those things in our business plan, like make time for rest, but allow these things like AI to help fund our freedom. What has that looked like for you? And how can it help businesses that are listening?
Yeah. I think if I can comment on that, that was really good. I think that first of all, the way that that quote is read is just so many different aspects to it. I did go on vacation and I did take that time to really rest
Mhm.
and relax. There's a lot of revenue and rest that people don't understand. And also being able to take time to
Yeah.
rest, but also utilize your business on your vacations. I literally let my business pay for everything. And that's one thing that I do want to really teach a lot of women entrepreneurs and Black owned businesses to live more of a freedom lifestyle where your business is paying your expenses, is paying your lifestyle. You're not
Yeah.
bootstrapping to buy the business, right? Because the business is not, it should not be um, what we call a cash cow, okay? Something that's just draining you dry financially. And if you feel like your business is draining you dry financially, you will get burned out. If you feel like you're not making the amount of money you to make in the time that you need to, meaning that, say, I'm doing workshops every
Mm.
week and I have programs where I got 25 people in my programs, but I'm charging too low. So now I'm pretty much back in an employee state because the amount of money that I'm making to run my business doesn't add up to the time that I'm giving it. So we have to be very, very
Yeah.
cautious about how we run our business because sometimes the money that we put into our business, the time that we put into our business is actually leading to our burnout. And we just continue going because it feels like we're moving, but we're not actually making progress.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. So, so good. I love that. Um, what are the biggest challenges? So we talk about, being part of Women into Networking, winning,
Mhm.
right? And then you being a business strategist. What are the biggest challenges that purpose-driven businesses face, especially in this current economy? And what can we do to shift that? Or
Well,
what have you done?
when you're purpose driven, okay, purpose is really big, y'all. It is not something that is always going to feel like you're getting a return. Okay. Purpose to me, it
Right.
requires how you're created, who you're made of, like what you're made of, who you're made to be. And as a believer, I believe that God
Mm-hmm.
created me with purpose. I don't have to search for it or, run after it. It's already in me. I just have to light that fire, right? And drive that ship or the bus, whatever analogy you want to use. Um, just to make sure that I'm doing my part,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because God already did his part. He put the purpose in me. Now I have to
Mm-hmm.
discover
Mm-hmm.
what that looks like in me to bring it out, right? And a lot of times in entrepreneurship, there can be a lot of talk around money. There's a lot of talk around being liked, right? Like they got to like your business and like no trust factor and a lot of these things. And yes, all those things are considered. But I think the most important part about this is um, when you are, what am I trying to say? I want to say it the right way so it doesn't come out like the wrong way. um, um, so when you are as a woman entrepreneur, and actually, I'm actually forgetting the question as I'm speaking it because I'm looking down.
Oh,
Um,
the biggest challenges. The biggest
right, because I was
challenges
talking
you
about
face.
tools, and I got caught up in it. So when it comes down to purpose driven, I hope you cut that part because I kind of lost that one thought that I had, and then it messed me all up. Um, so yeah, cut to this the purpose part, and I said that it's so deep that it includes things like your gifts, right? And there are some people that have gifts that are so specific to them that other people just don't have.
Right.
And when you're purpose driven, you kind of have to lean into that, right? So it's not about looking at someone else's social media and saying, oh, they did it that way, that looks nice, let me do it too. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, like you can know the bare bones of something. Like you can look at a business model and say, okay, I like how that looks, let me mimic it, model it similar to that. But when it comes down to
Mm-hmm.
your what you're doing, what you're actively doing, how you're changing the world, how you're showing up in the world, how you're speaking to people, what your message is, what offers
Mm-hmm.
you're delivering to people, how you want to create those offers, how you want to engage with people, all that comes from who you are right?
Yeah,
Which comes from your purpose and your gifts. And if you don't know what your purpose is, if you don't know what your gifts are, a lot of the challenges that come into place with that is you go after the money. So
exactly.
you're
Yeah.
only thinking about, okay, well, I'm good at this, I'm skilled at this, so I'm just going
Mm-hmm.
to use this to get somebody's money. And what happens is
Right.
there's a lack of care that
Yeah.
sometimes creeps in. And so the biggest challenge there for purpose driven entrepreneurs is to be mindful of why you're doing things. Like, am I doing this
Exactly.
because I want their money? Or am I doing it because I actually care about getting them this result? And I
Right.
promise you that, and I'm saying money because I think that's the biggest issue. Because most people that start businesses, they go, oh, yeah, I just wanted to make money. That's not why you need to start a
Yeah.
business. Please don't do it because you'll be
Exactly.
very disappointed.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, when you lock in to your purpose and when you lock into your gifts and when you own them, the money will
Mm-hmm.
just come.
Exactly. Exactly. That's good. And I mean, there's an affirmation, I believe. I've heard it, I've probably said it, that everything I need is already here. So even with the businesses that I help and my own business, I always tell people, don't chase the money, because for me, success comes when I see you smile. I see you birthing your gifts, right? Because like you said, and you said it clearly, that some of us are born with these things. So the next person may not have it, because that's my gift, my calling, my purpose. So don't always go after what you see and like, oh my gosh, they have a lot of dollar bills. It took a lot for them to get there, and these challenges that they may have faced, because the enemy knows, right? And when we know that something great is coming, we are faced with so many challenges. But because it's in us already,
Yeah.
God already knows we're going to succeed. So that was a really good share, really, really good share. I want to discuss, and we're
I do
gonna
want to give some
wrap
action steps too, though.
up. Mhm.
That's okay.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
So, and especially because this is hashtag her chosen story, every person has their own story, and it's so unique because you are unique. So, if
Right.
you, like you said, Clavia, if you don't bet on yourself and go after your purpose rather than the paper, because dollar bills are not even worth what they should be. So, what are you really working for?
Exactly.
So, I think that
Exactly.
well, show up every day, either discovering purpose or actively exerting it, right? And so this is one thing that I do, and especially if I have a client who's struggling in this mental state, is write down on a piece of paper what success looks like to you. You kind of said it, hinted towards it already,
Mhm.
Clivia. Because when you determine what success looks like to you, then you can identify what kind of life strategy that you can create for yourself. And once you wrap your
Mhm.
mind around that, then you can start writing down steps that are going to get you to that level of success that you want. And throughout that process
Yeah.
is where you'll find resources and ask questions. And so that's the one actionable step I would give today.
That's good. And I mean, I would have asked you to actually say something like that before we close. Like, what's the last advice? What's the advice you can leave with our audience? And I think you just did. So that was really, that was really good. I want you to talk about the 90-day incentive that you have coming up, and also I have this here, the event in September. If people are, let's say, in South Atlanta or just in Atlanta or wherever they are, and they're able to travel, right before it gets chilly, what does this event look like?
Thank you for the plug, sis. I love talking about what we do. So, first of all, in AJ CEO Business Coaching, we do have the 90-day intensive. That I actually, I still have seats left. So I have about 13 seats left, I believe. We started out with just accepting 25 women entrepreneurs to make sure that we can guide them through 90 days of really just making sure that they can clarify exactly what they're doing without the overwhelm. And so they not only get step-by-step guidance, toolkits, resources on the back end that they can look at every day, they also get accountability coaching. And that's really big because for someone who you can be in your business for 10 years and still feel like alone. So having someone, every single week guide you through, recapping what you said you were going to do. How are we going to put that in a strategy? How are we going to plan that out for the next week? That's what I do in that program with my clients. And so far, we've seen massive results from people who've been in my previous, coaching programs as well, because learning never
Awesome.
stops. It's always something that people need to do. So that program, for anyone who's looking to join, I will put the link in any of our social media channels, and it's already on the AJCO website. But I will say for anyone who's like, yeah, I need to get in that. My programs are normally about 1,000 or more. I'll put it like that, right? Because
Right.
anyone who comes into my programs, they are ready to invest in themselves, and when people pay, they pay attention.
Right.
But what I
I
did
love
with
that.
this particular program is for just 25 women, I gave them a massive chunk off the actual investment cost just to get them in the door and to give them an opportunity to make sure that they can, get all of that overwhelm off of their shoulders before the holiday season. So
I love
this
that.
is where we're at with that. And if you're interested, like I said, click the link or DM me, and I'm here for support. As far as women into networking, that man, like we had the last garden party in April, and like I told you guys, this community came from my need in business. And now that we have grown into this wonderful, because Clivia, like you said, we met last year, we hit it off. We made reels together. We started, just collaborating. You became a leader in the community.
Hmm.
This is what connection and community is all about.
Yeah.
And so we have meetups like that so that we can have those experiences. Um, the online space is great. We still do that. But this September, we're bringing back another garden party where last garden party we actually called seed to success, where we planted our seeds. If
Hmm.
anyone has been in that Healthy Horizons Facebook group, we posted one of our attendees who grew her garden, and her squash was like 9 inches. And
Wow.
from one seed, we saw how an entire garden of squash blossomed from one seed. And the concept
Hmm.
behind that was just to show people that you can plant your food and your ideas and they will grow as long as you nurture them. So that was amazing.
Yeah,
Our
that's so
speakers
good.
at that event have come back for September 6th, and now we're doing Stories the Soil Tells. And this is really about digging deeper past the seeding, past the planting, and actually looking at how did you nurture that thing? And are there things in our lives that maybe we need to nurture or uproot? Or maybe the
Yeah.
soil that we are in, it may not be good soil, but how do we rejuvenate that soil? How do we,
Yeah.
replenish it with the nutrients that it needs? So you definitely are going to, have an amazing time because we have networking, workshops. We have our One Hope Wine sponsor coming back. So for those wine lovers, we also have a non-alcoholic wine. A pathogen is what she
Yeah.
calls it. So you guys will get to taste that, and the mushroom coffee. We also have some vendors. If you're looking to be a vendor, you can sign up. And if you want to be a sponsor, we're always looking for support so that you guys can be a part of these meetups, but also join the community because in 2026, the way we're going to be moving, you definitely want to be a part of that. So y'all can check out the website like Clivia just put up. Thank you, Clivia, for always supporting the win as well.
Of course. Of course. That's so good. And now that we're on this, just talking about, just sowing that seed. I was sent a message this week, and I'll read it real quick. It's from this young lady. She's in New York, Bianca Kane. She's a Kingdom CEO, as we are, right? A wise farmer knows you don't plant today and harvest tomorrow. The harvest doesn't come to the lazy or the impatient. It comes to the one who understands that preparation is prophetic. You plow because you expect something to grow. And how you move after you've planted reveals whether you're truly standing in expectation or silently agreeing with doubt. If God said it, partner with it. But remember, you don't get to dictate the timeline. Obedience is your assignment. Outcomes belong to God. And it says, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. But before they bow, we plow, we water, we pray, we love, we obey. So if you're believing for something, don't stop. Don't stop plowing. So I read that and I was like, that was so encouraging, because some people, they rush the process, right? And they might see those squash and they're like, oh my gosh, how do I get that? You have to start from the seed, right? And then you may not see it right away. So I love, even in September, that conversation of, what did you do? How did you make that happen? You know, and that's how we build together and that's how we grow together. So that is really, really exciting. So exciting. So exciting. So encouraging.
Absolutely.
And
I can't wait. I can't wait. And for those of y'all who are like, oh, I don't know if I want to go or not, listen, don't worry about it, because I have so much fun every time I go. I don't miss nobody. Like I'm having so much fun. But I love how you said, I just love how you said that. And I just want to just encourage anyone listening too, because this is very deep. Deep, I even thought it would be. That's how I know it's God sent, right? Because when you don't have a green thumb like I do not have a green thumb. I like every time I try to grow a plant, it just died like immediately. So to, go through a process, that's an intentional process of learning how to grow my own food, as well as really deep dive into my spirit, my mind. It's just, y'all, we have to really start to look at our entire life pie and address every area that we need to in order to be successful in this life. So I'm really excited. And I thank you for highlighting the meaning of, what these events are. And also I would love that lady's information, because I need that in my life.
Yeah, I'll definitely share that with you. And yeah, this was really encouraging. And again, this is not, although we focus on business, people that would hear this, whether it's when it premieres or a year later, be encouraged, right? And there's strategies to make your life easier. Connect with Allegra. Again, she's available at ajcobc.com. And then the nonprofit side is Win Community. And again, I'm encouraged that we were able to connect when we did, because I knew that time in my life, I needed a community, and it was made much easier with all the plans. And I always say, I have all these thoughts and ideas in my head, but it was very hard to execute it alone. Right. So now even, being here in Florida and leading these other women, and they're coming to me with questions. And if I don't have the answer, at least I know there's a community of women that I can definitely reach out to, like, hey, there's this person, that person. And I know I sent out a email, and, visit the website, guys. The Win 411. I'm excited about that, because that would be the hub that we can all go to when we have questions and resources are requested. So I'm excited for that. And it was really a pleasure having you here with us. Before we leave, we're going to play a little game. It's called What You Heard. So I'm going to throw out 3 words, and whatever comes to mind first, you'll say. All right. So I'm going to throw out the word business.
Success.
Win.
Community.
Seed.
Identity.
Okay. And this is a bonus. Marriage.
Love.
Love it. I love it. There you go. This was fun, Allegra, and we always have a good time when we come together. And I know you shared your last advice, but anything you want to leave with the listening audience?
I guess the only thing I can say really to end it all is just, no matter what you are striving towards, whether it's in business, life, personal development, just, have faith in your ability to do the things that you want, that you need to do, that you need to do. Sometimes we get very caught by the fears of things, the fear of the unknown, doubting ourselves, struggling around if we're good enough. And I just want